All right, welcome everybody to conversation number 97. Um, uh, to the TLC. We're going to be talking putting the customer first, focusing on value-driven experimentation with my dear friend, Sam Burge. But before we start, as always, we want to thank our sponsors. We'll start by thanking Conductrix, who have been with us from the very beginning. Thank you, Matt, Nate, Ezekiel, Ashley, and the entire team at Conductrix. Thank you so much for supporting the TLC. And of course, we want to thank our TLC newsletter sponsors, starting with Conductrix, but also Growthbook and SiteSpect. Thank you all so much for providing your thought leadership to the community. It means so much to everybody. This month's newsletter just came out. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun. And next month's newsletter will be out at the end of the month. If you're interested in bringing thought leadership to the TLC community, we do have one slot, so reach out. Thank you again to Convert for sponsoring the amazing Conversations channel. You all can contribute to that channel by answering questions and getting to know each other. So take a chance, answer a question, and get to know your fellow experimenters on the TLC Slack. Who knows, you might win some cash for joining the conversation. So answer a question, get to know each other. And last but far from least, thank you, Eddie and Blazing Growth for sponsoring the TLC community. Some quick announcements and reminders. Next week, yay! I fly out tomorrow to head to London first and then Birmingham, and gonna go see some friends, including Els, Abby, Lucas, Ruben, and Tone. And we are going to be supporting some stars of the future at the TLC Mentorship Summit at Experimentation Elite. We're going to give time on the stage for those rising stars, and the mentors are going to mentor them. Michael Agard has coached these mentees, and they're going to be on the mentorship stage. There are a few tickets left. The awards show is sold out and the CRO roundtables are sold out, but there are still a few tickets left for the TLC Mentorship Summit and for the Experimentation Elite show on June 5th. So June 4th, June 5th, they still have tickets. So come join us. We'd love to see you. Also, if you didn't hear, EI 2026 tickets are on sale, and we've made it easier to join the conversation. All-inclusive tickets start at just $17.50 this year. That is $200 less than last year. That covers 3 days and 2 nights. It's immersive experimentation, UX research, AI, meaningful conversations, lodging, meals, and all activities. This year, there are more ways to save if you bring others along. Agencies and contractors, you can bring a client or prospect, and you both save $150. In-house teams, you can bring a colleague and save $500, or bring 2 colleagues and save $900. So we've really worked hard to make it as affordable as possible, something we can do because I'm a nonprofit. So please join us. And if you were there at EI 2025, get the word out and let others know that they don't want to miss it. Obviously, just go to experimentationisland.com, learn all about it, and reach out if you have any questions. So next up, meet Sam. I'm thrilled to introduce today's speaker. She's a former colleague that I had the pleasure of working alongside for 2 years. This is Sam Burge. Sam is one of those really rare analytics professionals who combines deep technical skills with a clear, empathic and understanding of business needs. During our time working together, she made a major impact by managing campaign performance for a billion-dollar pharmaceutical client, conducting advanced statistical analysis, and collaborating with data science teams to uncover new customer segments. She brought rigor and creativity to everything from correlation analysis in R to qualitative audits, cluster analysis, and customer LTV modeling. But what really stood out to me was how Sam not only did the work, she also improved how everyone around her worked. She streamlined onboarding and analysis processes for our teams, built out quality assurance protocols, and mentored new analysts, all while delivering beautifully polished deliverables that translated data into clear, actionable stories and leadership. Today, she leads the marketing analytics team at 1Password, where she empowers teams with data-driven insights. She's also no stranger to experimentation and measurement strategy, building the frameworks that helps teams focus on what truly drives customer value. Her colleagues consistently describe her as a gifted storyteller with data, a trusted cross-functional partner, and a joy to work with. And I couldn't agree more. Please join me in welcoming Sam. I will pass the screen share to you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Wow. That was a wonderful intro. Thank you, Kelly. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today as we, let me move this. As I want to talk to you kind of a little bit more about something that Kelly touched on, and which is me having a real love for processes and measurement and experimentation. Seeing the people on the call today, I should have probably put a little bit more math in here, but next time maybe. Anyways, so what I want to talk to you about is something that it has kind of come together over the last decade that I was working in analytics and experimentation, and that is really starting to put the customer first and thinking about how can we combine a couple of tools in our toolkit to really drive value-driven experimentation. Kelly, let me know if there are any questions. Please feel free to ask any questions during the presentation or after. So let's start off with a show of hands. So the thing that happened to me over the last decade is that every now and then I wound up in these experimentation teams where all of a sudden we were running a ton of small UI tests and we were cranking out test after test after test, but really our margin for success was shrinking. If this ever happened to you, send me an emoji or raise your hand or wave, because I've been in this boat. I've also wound up in the boat where was asked for lots of analyses or ad hoc requests. And then as I was sharing out with my stakeholder and giving them all of the great information that I found, they said, "Thank you very much. This looks really great." And then it went over to the left and it was never used again. Anybody else feel that pain? Because I did. So this is why I kind of started thinking through how could I bring more value to the business, but also more value to our customer. And by bringing more value to the customer, kind of drive the key strategic goals. So that leads me to my problem statement. Focusing on isolated analysis and just ad hoc work for the stakeholder kind of disconnects you from your overarching goal. You're throwing data over the fence sometimes when it gets really busy and it gets really crazy. I am very much a person who has done this and feels very guilty for this in the past. Or you are just considering the data that is right in front of you and not a data that might be available to you that's outside of your area of expertise, for example. And then another problem that I've identified, and this, there's a painful story behind this that I will go into in just a second, is that I wound up getting into a lot of experiments or having to analyze a lot of results for experiments that were very surface level. In one of my earliest touch points with experimentation, I was on an analytics team, but I was the analyst assigned to evaluating the experiments. And leadership set a goal of 40 tests a year. That was it. No guardrails, no deeper metrics. They just wanted us to run test after test after test to validate that we were using the testing tool in a better way. And after we started getting closer to that number, we actually realized that we weren't driving conversion rate, we weren't driving key areas forward, but we had rearranged the homepage at least 4 times, which was wonderful and very helpful to everybody on the team. So what are we missing when we're getting trapped in this churn and this really quick work that we're usually in? We're missing the strategic goal of the company. So doing all of the work above in the end won't have anything to show for it. You're missing the value proposition. And for me, it's not just a value proposition of the product that you are selling, whatever it might be, if it's a digital product, if it's a physical one, but it's also the value proposition to the customer. So you're kind of missing out what your customer wants from you. You're neglecting the voice of the customer. Especially in today's day and age, I don't think anybody can still make the case to not listening to their customer because they're forefront and center, and they're really telling you everywhere what they're thinking about how you're executing for your product. And then last but not least, you will get diminishing returns if you go down this rabbit hole of just throwing out analyses and hitting the goal of 40 tests, which we did hit, but we didn't move the needle. So today I kind of want to talk to you about how, after a while, I've started thinking through how we can do more customer-centered work, how we can really listen to the customer, and how a combination of voice of customer analysis and experimentation really drove to the value-driven experimentation part, right? Leading forward and making bigger leaps and actually seeing the outcome, which then leads us to see real business goals being achieved and real goals for the customer actually being achieved, which was huge and very important, at least in the example that I will go through in this presentation. So as some of you on this call might know, I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. I could not bring it in. So I really hope that by the end of this presentation, you kind of take away a little bit of how all of these can play together with a customer-centered focus to help you rethink a little bit of your day-to-day life and how you're executing on analysis and experimentation. So here's a little anecdote on how you need to understand your customer. Early on in my career, I worked for a large B2B wholesaler. And it took them quite a while to get personas up and running. And why these are important for this example is because at that point, we were very trapped in continuously running new analysis. That was also the company I was working for who just wanted 40 tests and it didn't matter. And then maybe next year, 60 tests. But we really didn't understand who our customers were, which segment were we serving, because they were like, everybody who needs our product, and that's a lot of people. So after a couple of years, one of the teams actually was able to build out personas and really start getting that deeper understanding of the customer. And I want to talk about two in particular because it's very interesting to understand how different the customer can be that actually purchases the same item. So we had the one truck Chuck and the organize it all admin. And the one truck Chuck's only goal was they are in their car all day, they're driving to clients, they're trying to fix whatever they've been called in to fix. And when they place an online order or through the mobile app an order, they want to show up at the location, they don't want to wait, and they just want to pick up their things, put it on their truck, and keep going. While the Organize It All admin actually had a completely different goal. She wanted to, or he wanted to just work through all of the things that were coming in the future. They wanted to organize all of their orders. They wanted to label them by jobs, and they really wanted to get the best price for everything that they were purchasing for the people that they were helping to execute on a job. Now you can understand where I'm probably going with this. They had completely different pain points, right? If our one truck Chuck showed up or something wasn't available online and they had to then stand in line at the B2B counter, or there was a problem with the quantities they are ordering, they were really disgruntled because every minute that they weren't in a client's home or they weren't driving to somebody, they were losing out on money. And on the other hand, the admin was just frustrated how much time it took to organize herself, how hard it was to actually get the orders to the right place at the right time when she needed them for the larger jobs. And that was kind of when I started understanding that. I was like, oh, wow, we had never thought about in our mobile app or on our website how to actually focus on the different customers we had. We had some segmentation at that point, but we never had designed or analyzed our data based on some of these findings. So one of the cool things that happened to me then later in my career is I joined iRobot. And I was really, really fortunate to run their data analytics and data science team. And there was the first time that I could go through the process that I'm going to outline from front to end, and was really able to help and shift a little bit of the perception to a customer view. And how that was enabled was we got a new CEO back then. And he came in and he looked around and he was there for a couple of weeks and he was like, and in all hands, he made the declaration that our new company-wide goal was to delight the customer. And that was it. And then he built a task force. And I was very fortunate that I was on the task force. But you can imagine that after an all hands where somebody says we should delight the customer, there were a lot of questions like, we have a great product. Everybody loves our little vacuums. How can we influence the customer? Like, we cannot give them money to pay them to be happy or write us a good review. One thing that I heard a lot was people saying, well, it's just really the people who are upset that you hear the most. The majority of our customers are very delighted. So then in this task force, they decided, okay, we actually now need to measure this. So how do we measure this? And we want to see that our ratings stay the same or get better. Okay. That's something that we can do. We have the information for that. But how do we influence our ratings? And one of the first things we did was completely sketch the unboxing journey. And that was actually a really cool experiment because we had people from all over the company in the room. We had customer service in the room. We had some of the engineers who were in charge of different areas. We had supply chain in the room, right? And we started thinking about what happens when, I'm just going to make this up, Kelly, you're my guinea pig for this one. Kelly goes out. She hears that doorbell ring. The box arrives at her home. She puts it inside. She rips the tape off. She's super excited. And then what? So we started sketching out every customer touch point. Kelly opens the box. Oh, there should be a little card on top that tells Kelly how to put her robot together and how to scan the QR code to get to the app. Well, what happens when Kelly is in the app? We don't know. Does she have a problem? Unclear yet. But in our world, we sketched out every customer touch point that Kelly was getting to until she could finally vacuum and mop her floor. But then we realized we're still missing some nuance. So we added our internal signals. And that was the second layer that we built on top. And that Figma was massive, by the way, and it became very unruly. But everywhere where we know we had to either send a signal to the customer or we received a signal, that could be a cloud connectivity, something else that was happening, the robot actually engaging with our systems and starting to navigate. We started sketching that out. And then it was time for our team to fill in the blanks as well, because we had to talk about data availability. What can we actually measure around this customer journey? Can we measure when Kelly gets the box? Not really. Maybe. Can we measure when Kelly rips the tape off? Maybe. Not really. But we could measure when Kelly finally downloaded the app and got into it and started provisioning her robot. We knew we had all of the data points there. In this wonderful, huge Figma that we had, there was one key thing missing. And I talked about this earlier, right? With the one truck Chuck and the Organize It All admin. We didn't know where their pain points were because we were building this out of an ideal scenario and we were building this in an ideal world. And this is where the first pillar that I find very important comes in. And that is using the qualitative insights you get from everywhere. I have worked in corporations or with clients where sometimes you hear oh, that's the customer research team. They're doing this. But in reality, you get a lot more signals along the way that you should be listening for and that you should be asking the why behind. So what did we do? I had a phenomenal scientist on my team, and she started pulling the thing that we were actually supposed to keep stable and improve, which was ratings and reviews. So she worked on pulling us all of the ratings and reviews together. At the time, we had a sentiment tool. We ran it through the sentiment tool. We were thinking we're gonna be cooking with, we're gonna get going. And then we realized we actually had a problem. Vacuum cleaners aren't like everything else on the market. So when we get reviews that our vacuum cleaner actually sucks, that is good. So we had a couple of problems as we were evaluating the sentiment tool. And then she raised her hand. She was like, I can write us a model. So we went back to the collaborative space and we asked everybody to help us build our own library, right? And help us figure out what should the sentiment tool actually be evaluating our ratings and reviews on. And when we were able to do that, we tagged everything and we collaborated with other teams, and we built out a way for everybody at the company to access filter. You could filter by 1-star rating, you could filter by 5-star rating, because positive reviews also hold value and information. And we could look at topics over time and problem topics over time. And then we combined that with our wonderful customer care team. They had a plethora of data. They were tagging and categorizing our calls for years. And we kind of overlaid that information and looked if we saw the same patterns that we were getting from reviews and what was happening and what was going on. So from there on out, we then added one more thing because we were missing a little bit. So we added surveys. We had some surveys out there already, but as we were overlaying the customer care calls and the ratings and reviews, we were missing information. We just got half sentences of this didn't work or there was a problem here, but we couldn't pinpoint what the user was actually trying to tell us was the problem. So we built really close-knit segments and deployed surveys in our mobile app to users that showed patterns where we made the assumption with all of the information that we got that they would either run into the problem or could tell us what they were thinking at the time and what could be one of their pain points. So we had a couple of very simple questions with a scale, but we kept a couple of open-ended questions as well, and then ran them through the model that the scientists built to really get some more of that juice and, pick into that grayscale. One of the things I was really sad we were missing at iRobot, but I was very fortunate to have at a different employer, and I think is a really key piece to voice of customer sometimes, is session recordings. And in the beginning, when I first, early 20s, first or mid-20s, first encountered session recordings, it was in a really weird way because I had a very forward UX manager and product manager, but their goal was that anybody on their team had to watch 10 sessions a month. That was it. No rhyme or reason what to watch, where to watch. Some of them were part of specific areas of the website. So some just worked on checkout, some just worked on search. So we were lucky if they were watching search specific sessions, but the goal was just, did you watch your 10 sessions and could you let us know that you did with some kind of feedback? So as I was on the analytics side at the time and we're doing implementation, we talked to our analytics vendor and I was like, is there any way that we can make a connection here? And we did, and we were able to get the session recording IDs into our analytics platform, and we started implementing a online feedback tool. So when we found out that customers were frustrated and upset through Airtable, we kind of started building segmentation and a digital analytics tool. And then we sent those sessions to our UI team, our product team, our analysts, and everybody, the marketing team. And we said, you don't need to watch 10 sessions. Here are the 4 that you should be watching right now if you are in checkout. Or here are the 2 that you should be watching if you're in search, because I think that is where you find your insights. And lo and behold, we found something that I think everybody would think is a very low-hanging fruit, but we never had proof for. So we weren't collecting a lot of data on our checkout flow because, We had B2B customers and they authenticate everywhere and they're already in there and they're doing all of these things really well. And they have no problem checking out. They do, but we didn't collect the right data. And our first field in the checkout funnel wasn't us asking for your email address. It was something completely different, and I can't even remember what it was. So when people got into checkout, they started typing their email address and then got a random error. It was also not an error that helped us in analytics. And then they would try again because they're so trained that the first thing everybody wants is your email address. That was a really quick fix. But this is why I wanted to bring session recordings up in here as well. So taking us back to iRobot, we did the three things. We analyzed the ratings and reviews. We contrasted that what we heard from customer care calls. And then we generated more information for us through surveys that we launched. And we learned a lot. We learned that customers were facing connectivity issues. And that's a pretty broad term, but there were two specific screens in the onboarding journey that customers were getting frustrated and kind of having a hard time. They were having navigation failures. And we're like, huh, that's very interesting. That's a really broad one. And we needed to think about a little bit what that means. But there was a lot of information around navigation. They thought we were doing incomplete cleaning. And that's a huge problem if you're selling vacuums that are supposed to clean your home. And now we had to understand, well, what does that actually mean when somebody tells you that it's not cleaning well and maybe it doesn't suck, which now is also a problem. It required assistance. And you're like, what does that mean? This was actually a very interesting one for us because we told them there is a dock and it goes to the dock and it empties itself and you are completely hands off. But that's not really true. Every now and then you have to empty your dustbin. Every now and then, depending on which model you have to refill the water. And then we also needed to understand, well, is there something more behind required assistance? And then here's the one that actually surprised me. And Kelly, I'm going to bring you back. You have the box. You'd ripped off the tape. You were super excited to have this robot, but then you got unboxing anxiety. So one of the things that we learned, and it was really funny when my team was tasked with understanding the data availability, at the beginning, we actually said, well, everything until they connect to the mobile app, we can measure. Because we are not getting any signal from the robot, we're not getting signal from the app, we have no visibility. But as we did all of the voice of customer work, we found a pocket of calls of people that had no problem, but the fact that they were really afraid of setting up that robot by themselves. And that they just wanted the care agent to walk them through it. Although there was a little card that explained everything in detail, they just were very anxious doing this. And that was like a huge one for us because it was actually a good percentage of our calls. And it always went up when we were launching new products because people were buying them and then we're at home alone and they were like, I don't know what to do. So this led me to the next part and the part that I live and breathe mostly, which is leveraging analysis. So we learned a lot about our customers. We got a lot of feedback. We had all of this information, but we didn't know all of the details yet. We had areas to look for. We now had a way to start searching. And we started doing that. We went in and we validated the voice of customer information. And we learned that navigation failures are actually not navigation failures, but it's you not setting up your map at the beginning. And then the robot has no idea where to go at first and has to learn your home as it's cleaning. And it takes a little bit longer and it might bump into things. We also learned that when customers said there was so much hands-on stuff that they did get stuck. But as we were trying to figure out what was happening, it was leading us back to some of the onboarding problems and other things. And then the last thing that was really surprising to us was your Wi-Fi password. It's a problem. And I could put a plug now for the company that I now work for, but seriously, how often can people just like give up at the Wi-Fi password and probably phone a friend was shocking. And it was clear we needed to make a change. So we validated all of this. We could see the errors for Wi-Fi. We could understand that navigation failures were actually happening in the first missions because they never did the mapping run. For coverage pieces, we had to start using sample sizing to get more speedy results, but we were starting to understand that what the customer told us to clean sometimes didn't work out as well, either by our failure or something being in the way of blocking them. And as we were identifying the gaps, we realized something more striking inside of our own host of analytics. And that was that we were living in a really siloed process. So we had product testing, and they were over here testing all of our prototypes. They were sending some of them to customers who had signed up, and they were kind of, doing their own thing. Then we had product launch and usage, which fell under my team, and all of the product analytics. But we realized that when we were in product launch, we were the people who were in ad hoc mode, just throwing stuff over the fence to you because you got information and it's launch time and everything is happening and they're coming online. And now we just need to give you numbers. And then during usage, we kind of just did some maintenance analysis. And we never even thought about end of life, which was a huge problem, which led us to realizing where the disconnect in measurement was. So product testing was just looking for operational checks. They were going battery fine. Okay, moved in the lab from left to right. We're doing good. But we never, sometimes, but not always, measured the same things from product testing and production. Launch and usage, we actually had a disconnect between our digital product measurement and our physical product measurement. We sometimes saw them in part in isolation, but you cannot use your robot without the app. They go hand in hand. And the worst of all, and I wish Tim was on camera right now because he would cringe, we had no targets for any of this. We just looked at it and we measured and we were happy as we could be. And we did analysis and we were doing a great job, but we didn't know if it was good. Which led us to, and I'm missing the chat because all I see is Kelly laughing, clearly. Which led us to use something I did learn from Tim, which is measurement planning, but we focused it on the customer. And that was my first breakthrough to really take everything we learned from voice of customer, everything that we validated, and we put it together. And we tried to build customer-focused measurement with our stakeholders. So we had 5 people in different departments who were owners of this certain parts of the task force. So we sat down with them, and this probably took us 2 weeks to get through measurement planning, and it probably took us another 30, 60 days, depending on the measure, to get to a final outcome. But every time we got a measure and we got a proposition, we asked, how should the product perform here? What does success look like? And the key question that I don't have on here that was so important is, if we change this metric, positive or a negative, will the customer perceive something? Will there be a signal somewhere in your home that you go, oh, it works, or this is better? So that is what we were looking for. And ideally, and this is where this all leads into experimentation, once we had that measurement, we could actually start generating real hypotheses that were focused back onto the customer. We could validate. And one of the biggest things that iRobot always stand for is improvement, continuous improvement and changes. So this is what we built. This is a little abbreviated, but this is kind of what we built. We had our outcome KPIs, and they were provisioning success, So when you went through the flow of getting your robot onboarded, and you had to remember your Wi-Fi password, and you actually had to connect to the robot, which, fun fact, we learned something else there too that I will tell you in when we did the experimentation. We set that up and we set a clear target and we put it in there. We now understood that the key to navigation failures and some other problems we were having was actually the customer having a usable map. And we created new flags and we created new information so we could measure if you were onboarding the robot correctly and if you were truly setting up a map. We looked at something that we always measured, but we actually set a target against it. What is our mission success rate? Is the robot making it off the dock and back onto the dock during their mission? We tried to figure out, and that took us a while, how can we, and I learned a lot about wickets, how can we understand the commanded space versus the clean space, and how large is actually the commanded space, and how much are we covering of this? And then the last one was the hardest, because it leads back into connectivity, and it was the first time that we've built anything like it. And it was one of the coolest things I've seen one of my staff analysts explore with an engineer. And that was, can we measure when you, Kelly, or another customer saw that their robot wasn't available to them? Because we had pockets of unavailability during a software update or so, but we did them in the middle of the night. And ideally, you weren't trying to clean at the time. But is there any way that we could measure, wow, right now, Kelly is trying to clean and she's seeing some kind of message in the app or something is happening on the robot that's telling her her robot is not available to her at the moment? And we did, and we figured it out, and we lowered the margin of outages there. And that was one of the coolest that we got to put together. Another thing that we did with this, and somebody from our robot was on here, they would probably tell you they're sick of a view of this. This was everywhere. It was in Confluence. There was a data dictionary. It was in every report that we put out. We recentered everybody every time of what our outcome KPIs were that we were working towards getting correlation to ratings and reviews. And we set all of the targets and we let everybody know in every dashboard and anything that we put out how close we were to the targets with a clear line and a clear outcome. And we made sure it was readily available for anybody who wanted to see it. And that was really important to really get adoption of thinking about how to talk measurement, how to think about our KPIs, and how to put the customer first. And that leads me to the very last piece that is probably the piece everybody wanted to talk about, which was we started finally a hypothesis library, and I was so excited. It was so good, and Kelly taught me how to do it right. So we actually first internally learned how to set it up. We had a couple of specifications, of course, that were like internal to our robot and how to go through it. But we started teaching people how to put stuff into a clear hypothesis structure, right? We believe if we, I created Confluence pages with the structures and examples and how to use it. We said that they needed to be really specific on what they wanted to change. It wasn't accepted if it wasn't tying back to all of our outcome KPIs. You had to tell us what you were changing. And if you weren't changing one of the 5, I don't say we didn't care, but we didn't care very important in a big way. We needed to understand if we could actually do this. And that was something that was very interesting to me because actionable in the past meant something completely different until I met a lot of really, really smart engineers and they come up with some stuff that you're like, I don't think we can do this. I don't know that we can build this, but if you can build it, maybe I can measure it. Is it relevant? Does it tie back to our customer focus and what is happening in the business goal of we want to increase star ratings and we want to do better for our customers? And we started collaborating. We really broke down these silos. And the collaboration was so stark specifically in analytics because all of the metrics that you saw were now used in prototyping in launch, in production, all the way to end of life. And you always had to hit your target set for you in these stages. Here's a quick example. I know everybody has seen it, but it was really, really cool to see the team really start getting into it and start thinking about what to do. And we didn't just do A/B tests, we also put in if it was a pre-post analysis. And I will go into 3 examples that we actually executed on in a second, and where pre-post came in really, really grandly. So the first thing we tested, and that was a wonderful experiment, we changed the app flow around. We helped you out with your Wi-Fi password. We changed the order, we created new screens. So it was kind of a UI tweak in some areas, but we really thought through where people were hanging up around connectivity, around mapping, and we became very intentional in that reorder. And we saw people progress so much better. We put new notification in. So connectivity was this double-edged sword that we were running into. So we had the Wi-Fi problem of, we prompted you in a nice way to ask a friend if you didn't know your Wi-Fi password or how to find it. We actually had a little way for you to like figure out your Wi-Fi password. And then the second one was right after that was a screen where once you were giving us your Wi-Fi password and we were doing the connectivity, the most important piece was happening between the robot, the cloud, and your phone to connect everything together and make it usable, right? And in that moment, a lot of people were like, we would say it takes a couple of minutes, and people would go out of the app and close it completely, and it would just die. And then they would get right back to the beginning and had to do it all again. So then we changed our language. I think it was something around, how about you put your phone down and get a cup of coffee and leave the app open and come back in a couple of seconds. Technically, you didn't have to have the app open, but it was helping a lot. And some people have that notion of swiping it shut and clearing out their apps. And those were the people who were really failing out in the connectivity process. So once we saw that, we actually saw our provisioning numbers in the first session slowly tick up and tick up and tick up and do so much better. But we weren't quite at our goal. And we had probably raised provisioning at that point by a 7% increase. So we were in the 80% of people getting through it, no problem, which was a huge win. Well, we did a pre-post on forced mapping run. We took all the options away for you. So what we realized was happening, as I am to blame for too when I get new tech, people were getting through provisioning. The last thing you have to do is run a mapping run. And then people were like, but I want to clean. So they would just X out, get out, skip it. We actually had a skip button at the time. And they just decided their own path, which then led to the navigational complaints and all of that. And in this case, we took it away. You can't use your robot unless you don't map. And we forced the mapping run. There was no more Xing out, there was no more skipping, and our numbers went up. But only by like 10%. We were still quite shy of our goal, and we couldn't figure out what was happening. We took everything away. You were forced to do it. But as we now learn, our customers are smart. And they found a workaround. And they just got out of the app, they turned around and they pushed a button on the robot and they were like, it's gonna clean when I wanted to clean, and I wanted to clean right now. So we saw usable maps go up. We actually saw our care calls for navigation go down, but we didn't hit our target. And because we didn't hit our target, we started asking more questions, and in hypothesis format, we put it in there. We did some deep research, and then we figured out they can still hit the button. So then we had a long internal conversation of, are we going to be as forceful and also kind of brick your product until you do this? We didn't want to pull the trigger on that at the time because we literally wouldn't allow you to do anything. But we did put a little message in there, and we did change our UI one more time for mapping to really make it clear why you needed to do this step. And we squeezed out a couple more percent. there are still those rebel out there who are pushing the button and enjoying their first cleaning mission as the robot just goes on its way. And then we did a lot of internal testing, which I had never been part of and was really cool, of some backend features to test our cloud and Bluetooth capabilities. And we were actually able to measure availability a little bit better and kind of fine tune some of the wrong error messages that were happening, ensuring that the robot was up and running much faster when you opened the app, that sleep times were less, and really getting into some very cool measurements about, okay, we're going to turn this on for this robot type and not for this robot type, and understand if this truly made a statistical difference in the uptime of the robot. And that was very cool because I had never gotten to do anything like this. And which leads me to a quick recap. So what did we gain by keep on looking at the customer and actually really moving forward? We worked cross-functionally. The C-suite was bought in, so everybody was actually encouraged to help this forward and use everything. We weren't the only one that were doing certain work, right? That other teams were bringing to the table. For the first time, we had unified measurement. We measured the same in product testing as we did while you were using your robot. And we had clear targets and we had clear definitions. And we really had everybody understanding what our goal was. We made faster decisions. We had voice of customer. We had voice of customer validated by analysis. And we could test and we could do our analyses post hoc and other things. And we were just cranking out new things, which led to a lot of hot fixes and software updates and improvements. And we could truly measure how our rating and review topics switched. Slowly, it's very lagging, but we could see it. And we could see even quicker how our care topic switched. And I don't want to say that we stopped all care calls because something will always happen, but we definitely switched it around. And we tried our best with some of the new products to also take that unboxing anxiety away, although I think we will never fully beat that. And we got to innovate. Our scientists were actually really excited that we're on my team to now start thinking about these pain points and how to utilize new features in the app to really help with some things of when should it clean? How should it clean? How can you set it and forget it and walk away? So there was a lot of things happening, which brings me to, I think today, if you want to bring value and if you want to really drive your business strategic goals forward, you need to combine all three and you need to come across all of these different teams. And it's a lot of work and it's a lot of communication. But then you get to this lovely process that I now try to work on when I have the chance to lead a team, which is you need to understand your customer, listen to their voice, leverage the data that you have to validate the customer's voice. Measurement plan, hypothesis library. Thank you to the people who taught me all of that. And then experiment away and have the best time. Thank you for listening. I really appreciated your time.
Yay! And credit to Mr. Tim Wilson, who taught you that hypothesis library, not me. That's
What?
Tim
Was it Tim?
Wilson's
Did I do it
hypothesis
wrong?
library. No, no, no. Performance planning and hypothesis libraries are both Tim Wilson. Yep.
Okay, then it's my bad.
Yeah.
I worked with
Yeah. Especially when you said we believe, and if I'm right, then yeah, we had lots of debate over that that hypothesis library. Love it. We all use it. Fantastic job, Sam.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's
Really.
a great process to refocus yourself a little bit more when it's really busy and really crazy.
Yes, yes. Let's see. I'm going over here to the Florence says, fantastic presentation, really putting the learn and test and learn. Mr. Gershoff says, given Sam's Tay-Tay interest, some breaking news. She just bought back her catalog masters. Excellent talk. Thanks.
She did right before I got on. I saw the letter and I was like, yes, this is the news we needed. I should have stopped there. That's really true. Like,
And yes, you did in fact make Tim Wilson cringe, to which Gershoff said cringing Tim is an uninformative zero information entropy state. It was yeah, putting the Tay in TLC. Gosh, great. And Paula says great presentation. Y'all are really great. Whoa, what is this? Oh, Graham's note taker threw in notes here. If anybody has questions, y'all throw them in there. While you do that, I'm going to talk about what's coming up. Obviously, next week, the TLC Mentorship Summit at Experimentation Elite. The Mentorship Summit is on June 4th. June 5th is Experimentation Elite. June 20th, LA is going to be here for designing with invisible drivers, creating journeys that stick. And then John Lovett will be here on July 18th, talking about new rules of KPIs from his book, Performance Measurements That Make You Take Action. And then while we're in at Experimentation Elite next week, we'll be talking with one of our mentees and Creative CX, and we will be planning our first UX meetup, TLC Live UX meetup in London. It'll happen sometime this summer. We don't know yet the dates, but for those of you that are interested in a UX meetup, that will be happening sometime this summer. And a second one will be planned in Austin. So anybody who's interested in a UX meetup live in either London or Austin, one will be sometime this summer. And the second one will be planned, by the way, Matt, one of them's with Milam and Green, this in Austin. Austin, come on, Zeke, it'll be fun. And in Austin, maybe in September, I think, for the Austin one, and it's good weather in Austin. And probably, I know, right, Paula? We're trying to get it with Poppy and Milam and Green, not as sponsors, as speakers, and then have one in London in maybe July, maybe August. So anybody interested in talking UX and maybe, meetups and having a few bevies and learning stuff, it's going to be fun. And TLC and, get to know each other, have fun.
We get one good question. Should I answer
Oh,
it
we
here
do.
or in the chat?
Paula has a question. Sam, curious about how you set targets without having much data to base them on and how that socialization process went with the execs.
That was, I love this question because I think that was one of the hardest parts that we went through. So for a couple of the five, so I mentioned mission success rate, we had years of data. We've kind of seen how via time series and everything, success rate changed from like early missions to once you're getting to know your robot gets to know your home, and how all of these changed. So there we kind of just looked at the data that we had and set that out for new products and others to kind of think about a good margin that we could hit that we wanted to lower. So I think we talked with the engineers and everything, and we also knew we could never get success rate to 100%. There's no way. So I believe we set it around 90 because we knew there were some errors and some problems that would always come up. Now, availability for us was, for example, something completely new to set a target on. So we did two things for the ones where we had no data, and I'm going to reference Tim again. Is he had taught me how to just throw out a number and ask the execs if this was good. And I was like, well, will our robot ever be 100% available? And they were like, no. And then we had already started working on the analyses, and we could kind of backtrack a little bit of the numbers. I think we got 60 days, and we could see what our availability looked by day for the 60 days. And I cannot share all of those numbers. I'm sorry, I would give you the exact numbers. But we were like, okay, if you see this now and I show you the data, and we know we cannot reach 100%. And I know we're here. What do we think is really realistic? And we had some really, really great engineers on the team who had a lot of like cloud and other background too, feeding in their knowledge and helping us kind of set a goal. But the other thing that also happened was the execs in the room trumped every goal we set by at 5%. They wanted us to be aggressive and really aim for a high bar. So then what we did, we actually did like a great and a good example and set bars in that way. But it was a combination where we had data, we did a deeper analysis, we understood how variances were in there, and we kind of, came to a better solution. And for others, we threw something out there and we saw if it stuck and if we could get there. And it was actually really surprising how close we got with some of them. Does that help?
Yes,
Okay.
it was awesome. And Tim shared a link to the article of this process in the Slack as well.
Yes, because there's more than just pick a number, and it's really great. And it's helped me a lot with stakeholders to get them to the table and at least have the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Would you be willing to share your slides and slide form for PDF in the Slack?
Yeah, we'll do. Of course. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And the recording will be ready in an hour or so. I'll do much better this week than I did last time. I apologize to everyone for last time. Have a great weekend. And for those of you going to the UK, see you next week. Bye all.